Hello everybody, how are you all doing today? Today is March the 22nd, actually it's the 23rd now. It's a little bit after 12 a.m. so it's just about 10 minutes into the new day. Happy Friday everybody. Hope you guys have had a very cautious day trading because Bitcoin has been on a sideways trend. Sideways trend slash downtrend, I would say more than anything, right? But this was kind of expected. So I just want to pull out my Twitter very quickly. And make sure you guys are always checking out my Steemit where you can see the general blog and you can get the charts there as well. And most importantly, you guys can also support me by clicking the small little upvote button. Just down on the bottom over here. It doesn't cost you guys anything at all. And you know what? I get like $3, $4, $5 a post, but sometimes they add up and it just makes me feel like I'm playing some small game that I can add to it, right? So let's take a look at Bitcoin and see what it's doing. If we look on the daily, what we see is a potential crossover that's happening in a few days. When this crossover happens, it's going to tick upwards to the positive side of the histogram. So that's something that we always want to look out for. We haven't had a positive tick since what day here? Let's have a look. Since December the 7th, right? December the 7th was the very last time we had a positive tick upwards, and that was exactly when we started to downtrend, right? So it's been a very long time. I'm sure that if we get some momentum going upwards there, it would be pretty positive, but sometimes keep in mind that just because it crosses over doesn't mean that it crosses over for a long time, right? So we have to make sure that we get a lot of bullish momentum leading into that particular time frame. So let's take a look at some other indicators. Let me get my 100 moving average on here. I don't know why it ends up deleting. I'm probably not, I have no idea why. Like, you guys have clearly seen it on here before, but sometimes it just ends up deleting by itself. Maybe it's like loading an old chart or something like that. So there we go. Let's get the 100 on here. The white line is the 100 moving average, the exponential moving average. The yellow one is the 55, and this one's a 21. That's the 13, and that's the 8, just in case people are wondering. So let's take a look at CoinMarketCap very quickly as well. What we're noticing is that since this day right here on March the 18th, we noticed that the 24-hour volume has been, it was significant. But now that it's been a few days since the uptrend, what we're noticing is a very small decline over time. On the 18th, it was 6.6, then it went to 6.7, 6.3, and now it's declining, and it's more so in the middle range of here right now. So 24-hour volume is suspect, right? If there was a big uptrend, I think that a lot more volume would be put into the market. We're slowly downtrending in CoinMarketCap for the cryptocurrency market capitalization of all coins. We were getting roughly up to 340, 350 billion, but because we've downtrended from those regions of a 9K, of course, we're going to be losing some money and it's bleeding in the market. If we look at some of the coins here, what we notice is a lot of coins, guys, are actually bleeding right now. Take a look at, some of them are bleeding in double digits actually, like Cardano, like Neo, like Stellar, all double digits. Tether, no surprise, it's still $1. VeChain is bleeding as well. Icon, Lisk, OmiseGo, Nano, Zcash, tons of coins in the double digits right now. So let's take a look at, let's do a candlestick analysis first of all, okay? RSI, what we're noticing is this, yes, this is getting a higher low than the previous one, right? But we also just gauge momentum over time, and we're finding is this is a very relevant support right now. This is where it bounced on February 6th. This is where it bounced on March 18th, December. So who knows, maybe it will actually tick one more and just right above it. If it does, that's actually a very good sign as well. So we see that the 100 moving average crossed a long time ago with the 50, and it's still on a tear down right now. So why did we get guys resistance right there? We have to understand why resistance was offered there. Let me show you guys. If you go all the way back to these regions over here, what we're seeing is it's a cluster of resistances and supports, right? Right here acted as support, right here resistance. So naturally we're going to find some areas of impact where this crosses over, where it's going to be heavily impacted and resisted. So what we're seeing right now is 4 hours into this, or sorry, 1 hour and 15 minutes into this candle already, 2 hours and 45 minutes to go. What we're seeing is a very slow drop in volume actually, right? So we gotta wonder, is the market actually interested right now in supporting these levels? On the 4-hour chart, we're downtrending. we're definitely downtrending right now, and it's not really showing signs of slowing down yet right now. We're not really finding any major support other than perhaps this region down over here, but hopefully that's not the case and we find some RSI support in different zones. That would be ideal. So on a 4-hour chart, actually on a 1-hour chart, what we see really clearly is a shooting star here. First of all, a shooting star will start to imply that the bulls are starting to lose steam, or it can be seen as a doji. And this one right here as well, it's called a bearish spinning top. Now, a bearish spinning top is more so traditional, where it's found at the very top of the range, but because this one right here was found next to it, it's slightly more bullish than bearish, but nevertheless, it's trading in a range that's much lower than the previous candle. And as soon as this one formed right there, it most likely signaled to the market that, okay, it's time to take some profit right here. We're hitting a major resistance right here that we just simply cannot break. So definitely a lot of people took profit, and right now we're only 5 hours into the day, and it's definitely looking fairly bearish already based on that candle, right? But how much longer can we sustain it? That is a big question. Let's go look at the 6-hour chart right here. What we see in the 6-hour chart is this has a chance, guys, to cross over and come back down to the negative side, right? Where's the next RSI support region? Well, right now we're testing it right now, okay? We're testing the RSI support right there. So hopefully if we bounce this RSI support in the 6-hour, which is formed in about 44 minutes, that's going to be fantastic. And I'll show you guys why as well. We could likely bounce off of it here. Now, if we look at the 3-hour chart, what we see is a crossover that can potentially happen soon. So if we don't bounce from these regions, it is going to be quite a little bit scary, in my opinion. It's going to be scary because we might even get down to a lower range. And I mentioned on my Steemit, did I show you guys it already? I don't remember if I did. Okay, on my Steemit here, I wrote right here that support has thus far been established at 8,450, though if it does not hold a break below 8,450, and we can find support between 8,250 and 8,350, a break above the key resistance of 8,800 can rally to 9,350. So I provided both the bull and the bear scenario, right? So I wrote down right here specifically as well that we can, end up supporting down these lower regions right there. And let's talk about this channel that broke, all right? Let's go to, for example, a 2-hour chart right here. And let's talk about the channel that broke. I think Elliott wave right now is an incredibly difficult method of analysis, and not many people actually have a very detailed Elliott wave count on here. So sometimes we just have to realize that one method of analysis might not be as good as another, or one might be better than another. So what we try to do as a trader, whether you're day trading or swing trading, is change up your strategy once in a while, okay? You don't have to eat, live, and breathe by one strategy. There are many different weapons and tools at your disposal, and we use these different weapons, we can call them, at different times that suits it a little bit better. So if you're ever confused, right, not a problem at all, just try to see it from a different perspective. So I mentioned that if we broke around the 8,900 range right here, we would end up free falling to pretty much where we are now almost, right? So this is a cluster of support region that ended up breaking, right? It ended up breaking on the top range right there. And now where are we in the structure? If we go to a lower time frame, what we're noticing is there's a channel inside of a channel basically, okay? So we can consider some of these bull trapped regions, which is absolutely acceptable. So we can see something like that perhaps, okay? Something like that. So it makes a little bit of sense, right? If we actually drew it a little bit lower, for example, just to make it make sense the most, if I drew, for example, something like that, that actually works really well, doesn't it? Now, what's this region up here? This is the region where it tried to break above I guess a resistance, and it tried to stay above the trend line, but it simply just couldn't, right? So because it couldn't, it came right back down into this channel right here, bounce off of here with a wick. Like if we look at these on different time frames, it looks a lot better, right? We can just see the wicks that are poking down, and some of them can be indicative of bear traps. So right now, no doubt about it, you guys see where we're trending. We're trending right here. Sorry, my throat's a little bit dry there. We're trending down right here, so there's a chance for us to bounce up and also a chance for us to not bounce. Keep that in mind. If we do end up bouncing, a likely target is probably right around $8,600. So we're very, very tight and range bound. If we break out of this channel, I'll definitely be interested in going in a long position once we've actually confirmed an uptrend. But if we actually break out of here right now, guys, because we're at a fairly critical resistance, right? I was seeing somewhere around 83.50 to 82.50. Okay, let me just get my tool up here for you guys. 83.50 to 82.50. 82.50, just something like that, right? Hopefully we end up trending to at least one of these regions above 82.50. And the lower end of the support that we have to consider is, of course, 8,000, right? We've got to consider 8,000 as a very strong psychological number. Now, let's say that this actually did form some Elliott wave for the entire structure already, and all 5, which I'm not going to bother counting. Well, you never know, guys. All 5 waves could be in already, and if all 5 waves are actually in, we would be taking the Fibonacci range of all of these, wouldn't we? Right? So naturally, we want to assume a few things. If this channel doesn't hold, it's most likely going to end up trending to maybe 8,000 to 8,200 if the 82 to 83.50 ranges don't hold, right? So we just work it one way at a time, and assuming we're still bullish, we want a dollar cost average or buys. Okay, so I'm just trying to give you guys some specific examples of how we can play it if it actually does break out of that channel and comes down. I would be very interested in looking for a level, probably like right here as well. Keep in mind, right? This right here is looking to be it's not looking to be a support, but it is a support for the time being, simply because it's got a lot of activity in that. Sorry, I'm looking at the price of Bitcoin right now. Actually, is it dropping? I can't really tell. Maybe it's going to, maybe it's not. Never know until it happens. So if it breaks out of that channel, guys, right, out of the 83.50 range, well, make sure you guys are checking 8,200. And if that breaks, just, you know, I'm just gonna throw it out here right now that, like, if it does break, we could be looking anywhere between 8,000 to 8,250, which is where I plan to be buying. I plan to buy a few Bitcoin, maybe 5 or 6 or something, and just hold it till 10K. And that'll be for my swing trading positions. So as it gets lower and lower, it's something I definitely will be interested in buying. Now, another thing that we can actually be doing is wait for a breakout as well, right? So if this does end up bouncing, just based on how parallel everything has been thus far, right? Just, I don't know. Let's just assume that it's going to move up the same kind of trend as that one right up here, okay? So if that ends up happening as well, then maybe this has got a chance to hit around 8,600 mark, right? So we're going to play this one step at a time. So once again, if this channel breaks, I believe it might trend to anywhere up to 8K to 8.25, right? So we got to make sure we're very diligent with our buys there. If we do believe that we have a long-term or a short-term bull bias, a short-term bull bias that you want to go long on there, and dollar cost average. And I'll be sure to give you guys a very detailed Elliott wave count tomorrow. If we break out of this range right here, okay, if we break out of this channel right here with conviction, then the next logical target would probably be where the resistance is, which is right around the $9,055 mark, right? So that makes a lot of sense as well. And if it breaks down once again, 8K to 8.25K there, these are some of my general targets in general, because Elliott wave is very difficult right now, and I need to spend about 6 solid hours of doing an EW analysis on this before I can present it to the public. I was completely wrong. I apologize, guys, for being wrong, although please understand that it's never my fault if something goes wrong. It's always on your guys' fault, or yourselves, because we have to hold ourselves accountable as a trader. What you should never do is trust a random person with technical analysis. I'm not saying anybody's pointing me out. Don't get me wrong. I'm not being defensive. I'm just trying to show you guys a trader mentality where it's important for them to basically understand that they're accountable for their own decisions, right? So don't ever follow blindly. Always make sure you're understanding why you go in, and if I'm presenting an argument, make sure you're debating it as well, all right? So anyways, these were my quick thoughts for a 15-minute technical analysis for Bitcoin, and I'll be sure to keep you guys updated later in the morning. Thank you very much for all the love and the support. Have a great night, everyone. Bye now.